It's a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I can't remember where I read or heard this, but somewhere along the line I read and heard someone say, never underestimate the underdog's greed. And for whatever reason, that quote popped into my head this morning while we were getting ready to do this segment on Nick Walker. Outside of Nick and his team, I don't think there are too many people who see him as being a legitimate threat to win the Arnold Classic this year. And if I had to guess, I'd bet that's the way he likes it. Certain people need to have a chip on their shoulder or to have some sort of external pressure because it becomes a driver for their own intrinsic motivation. And if Nick is one of those people, because he's definitely heading into Columbus as the underdog, then everyone would be wise not to underestimate him, because all that does is help him fall right into his comfort zone. For the most part, outside of Olympia titles, win totals and numbers don't mean as much in bodybuilding as they do in other team and individual sports. But I will say this, if Andre Ferguson can get himself to career 18 wins before the end of the year, there will be some significance to that number for two reasons. First, he's already sitting at 16 now, and the next show for him will be the Arnold a few weeks from now, where he'll be going back to defend his title. So if he wins that, not only does it bring him up to 17, it also gives him a special place in history as a back-to-back winner there. And then with the Olympia being only a few weeks later, obviously that big number 18 would take on a whole new meaning because he'd have to put the coup de grace on the season to do it. So I guess in a sense, 18 is looking like Andre's lucky number if he wants to bring this whole thing full circle. Back in the day, people used to say that there's no rest for the weary. And in a lot of cases, I think that's definitely still true today. But I also think that same thing is true in sports too, because in any sport, regardless of whether it's bodybuilding or basketball or MMA, there's no rest for champions either. And if you're looking at this clip of Kerrith Bajjo right now, then you're seeing a prime example of what I'm talking about. Not even 2 weeks after his big win at the Tampa Pro, and he's already back in the gym training as hard as ever. And as he gears up to make a strong push for his Olympia debut a few weeks from now. If you look at some of the new names and faces that we've seen make headlines in the 212 this year, I think you can make a pretty solid argument for Kerrith being the most complete athlete in that group. And considering that once you get past that 5th or 6th place slot on the 212 stage, that everything else is pretty much up for grabs. The fact that he's not taking any time to rest now could end up being the thing that helps push him into that top 5. At this point in the season, we're still a long way away from needing to think or talk about the Prague Pro. But if you're a 212 fan looking for something to be excited about later in the season, Samir Trudy's announcement that he's circling Prague as the next landing spot for his 2021 campaign might be enough to get you going. Last week, Samir said that he had a conversation with a friend who convinced him to make another run at Prague, which is a show he placed third at the last time he competed there back in 2018. In the 2 times that we've seen Samir so far this year, he's had a hard time trying to dot the I's and cross the T's to help him show off all that new size he added during the off-season. So if he can take the next few months to really hone in on what his game plan should be, then sneaking into a show like Prague at the end of the season could end up being the perfect move to help him grab a win and get himself back to the Olympia stage in 2022. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.